name is Baxter. I'm an accredited practicing dietitian and online physique coach. And today I wanted to talk to you about how to create a caloric deficit and your maintenance calories. Now, for those of you that follow me on my social media, last week I put up some information about how to determine your maintenance calories. And the reason for this is obviously we've just had Christmas, we've just had the New Year, and a lot of people are now wanting to get back into routine and develop some good habits for 2018. But the problem that I've seen in previous years, and it doesn't have to be at holiday time, it's just generally whenever, when somebody wants to lose weight, they're diving into these incredibly restrictive, really low calorie diets. They're eliminating all of their favorite foods, and it's simply not necessary. So last week I talked about how to calculate your maintenance calories, and then once you have that, this week I wanted to go through what is necessary to create a calorie deficit and what is a healthy amount of weight to lose from week to week as to not damage your metabolism. So just quickly, if you didn't see my story or my video that I put up last week about determining your maintenance calories, basically all I wanted you to do was to track your food intakes for 7 days. Now, the 7 days that you choose should be a reflection of your normal or regular dietary intake. So if you're away on holiday and you're having alcohol and you're having foods that you don't normally consume, it's probably not a good idea to determine your maintenance calories based off this, because I'm pretty confident that your weight would not stay normal for you during that particular week. And hopefully your weight does not buffer within, say, 1%. So for example, if I was to take my maintenance calories this week, I know that my weight is pretty stable at the moment at about 68.5 kilos. So I would be looking at a 680 gram increase or a weight that is 680 grams less. That is kind of the range that I would say is where I am at maintenance, anywhere around that. Hopefully that makes sense. So once you have calculated those 7 days of macronutrient intakes and you know what your average calories are for the week, and you know what your protein, carbohydrate and fats are, I then wanted you to have a look at are there any trends that you see within those intakes? So do your calories fluctuate significantly from day to day? So one day you might have seen, perhaps on a Wednesday, you took in 1,600 calories. Then the next day it was down at 1,100 calories. And then over the weekend, you've gone up to, say, 2,200 calories or something like that. What I'm looking for is a more consistent or a steady caloric intake. And the same can be said for your protein, carbohydrates and fats. When it comes to developing an optimal physique, we need to be consistent enough for our body to go, oh, I recognize that amount of energy. I recognize that amount of protein, carbohydrate and fat. And then when you stay at those particular intakes for any significant period of time, that's when we start to notice changes. But if you're constantly going up and down and yo-yoing all over the place, you're never going to be able to get the results that you want. Side note to that, I do give clients high days and I do give them low days as well, depending on what their training schedule is like, or depending on what their needs are in order to maintain a particular caloric intake. So for some of us, and I'm in this basket, I like to have really set macronutrient targets during the week for my training week. And then on a Friday or a Sunday, I might take a high day because it gives me the freedom or increases my food variety to be able to incorporate the things that I really like. And this keeps me adherent. So on average, from week to week, then my caloric intake is going to be the same. So if I can hit those targets for 5 days of the week, and it could be any 5 days, and then I have 2 days that might be a little bit higher, if I do that consistently, then I know that my intakes are going to average out the same, and then I will start to see the progress and the results that I'm looking for. So bringing this all back to your maintenance calories, hopefully you've recorded your 7 days of intakes and you've got your average for protein, carbs and fats and your calories. So when it comes to creating a caloric deficit, the first thing that I would ask you or that I want to talk about is rate of loss. So what time frames do you want to achieve a particular amount of weight loss? So if you are not in a hurry, and I would certainly encourage you to take a slow approach, as it helps to preserve your lean muscle, so the muscle you do have isn't going to disappear as quickly than if you go with a really aggressive approach. And the other thing that taking a slow approach has advantages or benefits for is that it is less likely to affect your metabolism. Now, there will be some form of metabolic suppression when you do any fat loss diet, particularly for a really long or extended duration. So the goal would be to minimize this. For a slow fat loss, which is what I would certainly do, and I use this approach for my contest prep, so it's a little bit longer with a less aggressive amount of weight that I need to lose each week. So if I weigh 68 kilos right now and I wanted to take a slow approach, I'd be looking at around 0.6% loss per week. So if I just quickly punch that in now times 0.06, I'm looking at around 408 grams of weight I would need to lose this week if I was to start a fat loss in a slow mode. Obviously, if my weight responded, then next week that target's not going to be as much because my weight will be starting off less. So each week that 6% is obviously going to result in a slightly smaller amount of weight that you're needing to lose each week. For a moderate fat loss approach, so you're looking at a little bit more aggressive, so the calorie deficit you'll need to create in order to achieve this will be greater, so more restrictive, but hopefully not too difficult, would be 0.8. So again, using my weight, 68 times 0.08, I'm looking at around 544 grams of weight if I was to select a moderate fat loss approach, which is half a kilo. That's getting up there. So I'll talk to you about what kind of caloric deficit I would need to create in order to achieve this. And for the most aggressive approach, which I wouldn't recommend because it is going to have some form of metabolic suppression associated, and you're more likely to lose more lean muscle if you go more aggressive. But for me, that would obviously be 680 grams of weight as my weight loss target for this week. So you can go ahead and work out what you would need depending on which approach you would want to take. Anything greater than that, I certainly don't condone. I don't encourage this, and I don't do it with my clients. There are so many cookie cutter diets out there that I have seen people purchasing, and they're paying a lot of money for as well. And the calorie deficit that they're creating is just phenomenal, way more than what is necessary, and obviously increasing the risk of developing metabolic adaptation and suppression. So this is why I don't really like doing once-off meal plans for people if they're wanting to lose, say, 6 or 7 kilos, because in order to achieve that, the calorie deficit would just be really aggressive, and it's not going to be positive for you in the long run. So if I do meal plans for clients, and this is certainly a big part of my business, I let them know that we're going to need a number of different plans over the course of this number of weeks, because I can't start you here and give you a plan that is suitable for here, because it's going to result in drastic weight loss and obviously these negative health consequences. So that would be my recommendations when it comes to how to create a calorie deficit using those approaches. Now, to achieve that, everybody will have a different amount in order to create that. So just to give you a range, perhaps it might be that for someone that's of smaller frame, smaller build, lower body weight, for you to induce a 300 gram or 400 gram weight loss, you might only need to reduce your calories from your current maintenance by 100 calories. But for somebody who is larger frame, more muscle mass, you may need to reduce your calories from your current maintenance by 400 per day in order to create that set target weight loss. So I can't tell you, unless you contacted me, what you would need, because I don't know how your body operates. Depending on your dieting history and your training history, these are also things that can influence how you respond. And in fact, just yesterday, I had a client of mine who has done a 24-week reverse diet with me, and we've gotten her calories up by about 2,000, which sounds crazy. And she's been able to maintain her starting weight, which is just fantastic. However, we finally decided, yep, it's time to do a fat loss, and I've dropped the calories down by about 200 calories. Nothing happened. And then the second week, I've tried another 200 calories. Nothing happened. So there are some instances where people who have this history of chronic dieting and yo-yo dieting or anything like that, where it's like your body goes into this, it remembers what you've done to it. So as soon as it senses that change in caloric intakes, it goes into this conservation mode where, you know, your body isn't allowing the energy deficit to happen. You're staying in maintenance, or yeah, that makes sense. So it will be different for everybody. And hopefully the information that I have given you about slow, moderate and aggressive, and the range of calories that you might need to create that will help you with your goals, and hopefully let you realize that meal plans and really restrictive meal plans aren't always a positive thing. So yeah, if you have any other questions, please feel free to send me an email. My email is hb@biolane.com. There is plenty of free information on my website, which is www.hbnutrition.com.au. And you can also follow me along on Instagram and YouTube if you are on social media. So I'll put the links up on the screen here for you. But thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful new year and 2018, and best of luck with your physique goals. Thanks for watching.